This is Straight Talk with Enlightened Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Hey everybody, tonight for Straight Talk. Thank you for joining us tonight for Straight Talk. We're going to have a great time program. Thank all of you again for all that you do, all that you send the inspiration you give us to do this program. Well, we've been on the other side with Miss C. We've been on the other side with Ron and Shannon. We got a lot of things to talk about. Have you heard about what happened in Fulton County with one of his workers voting for herself and voting for family members? Woo, we got to talk about that tonight, as well as other things that's going on around the world with news and information with yours truly, Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. Let's see what Miss C talking about. Miss C, happy holidays, Miss C.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more or less. Listen. Flipper Temple AME Church at 580 Atlanta Student Movement Boulevard invites everyone to their Christmas fellowship meal Wednesday, December 17th from 9:30 to 12:30 p.m. This will be a festive holiday celebration for the community. To get information, call the church at 404-522-5020. I want to appeal to you and your heart. There are many organizations that's trying to help others and make a difference. If you're able and if you care, find an organization that you can support which help others in need, like the Red Cross, Toys for Tots, Hosea Feeds the Hungry, a woman's shelter, the American Cancer Society, the Atlanta Diabetes Society. There are many organizations out there that could use your help in order to help others. So find an organization, a charity, or something this season that you can support, that supports others and help others to succeed. Okay? Now listen, you're invited to worship at Liberty International Church, Liberty International Door of Hope Ministries, 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. Church begins at 10 a.m., Sunday school at 9 a.m., and guess what? Our own Bishop Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, is the overseer. Now listen, there's 4 things I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to, I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. I'd like for you to leave comments and also share us. Tell everybody about Straight Talk News. Tell them what you know, okay? Share us. We'd love for everyone to know about Straight Talk News, And listen, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas season. And going into the new year, that the new year be all it can be for you, okay? I can't think of anything to say that rhymes with 6. But anyway, I will by the time it's here. Okay, see you later. Bye now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We got the crew tonight. And Shannon, you were drinking water. Oh, you drink water this week. I'm going to drink coffee. You drink water. Thanks so very much.
We have to verify beverages.
Oh man. This is Dunkin' Coffee. It's the best coffee in the world. That Dunkin' Coffee is the best coffee in the world. Woo,
why are you drinking coffee this late at night?
Hey man, let me tell you something. I drink a cup of coffee every night before I go to bed. I mean, every night. It relaxes me. It really does.
So it's decaf coffee.
No, it's regular coffee. It's Dunkin' Coffee.
Studies have shown that people your age, when they drink coffee, they can't sleep for a week.
Well, whoever did that study, tell them to call me, and I'll fall asleep at the drop of the hat. Well, Listen, guys, let's have a serious conversation tonight. Last week conversation was really, really good. Got a lot of comments about the program last week, and thank all of you for letting us know how you appreciate the content of the program that we are bringing to you. And we'd love to have you on and be going around the world with us with news and information with yours truly, Greg Fenton, the preacher man, Shani Jones, Ron Allen, and Miss C. But listen. Don't forget to subscribe, like, make comments, share. And if you want to be on the program, listen, and we say this each and every week, all you got to do is go out to Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. And Miss C will line you up to be one of our guests. There's several things that happened this week that I really want us to dig with. Today we had an opportunity, Shannon and I, to attend the homegoing service of Bishop Reginald T. Jackson, Philip AME Church. Bishop Jackson was a man of God, truly a real community leader, activist, and really lived out the scriptures in Matthew, the 25th chapter, looking out for the least, the lost, and the left out. And he's going to be well missed in terms of his work and his life and his ministry, but he's left a legacy, and many of his underlings will be carrying on the legacy that he left. And heck, a lot of people there, I won't begin to call names. Shannon may want to share a little bit about that. But just want to say to his family and to the AME Church family, our condolences go out to you. And we really, really appreciate him coming this way to Georgia to help in the plight that we have had in Georgia. There are several names I am going to call. Shannon, I'm going to let you say what you want to say about it. It was good seeing Dr. Charles Ramsey, who he mentored, CJ Holloman, who's now in Savannah, Georgia, and Booker, Booker, who pastored at Grand Chapel a while. And so many of those that we have worked with down through the years with Bishop Jackson. Shannon, you want to share? And I'm going to leave the floor is yours this time.
No, I'm going to take a page out of your book and just say that it was appropriately attended by everyone from all of the varying groups, from the political delegation to, of course, it looked to be all of the living bishops, both retired and in office from the AME Church. A couple of them that I do know that I missed from that number, but it was just well attended from them, clergy from various different denominations, and it was very much an ecumenical vibe today, or display today, I should say, better word than vibe, and just wonderful and very fitting for the man that he was. The spirit took off in there,
oh man,
like any Pentecostal church.
I was, hey Shannon,
Wesley, and so that flame was on fire.
Hey Shannon,
today.
Shannon, let's start right here. I was telling Ron about that and how spiritual the service was, and how I had to get my little dance. I had to get my dance, and I tell you, it was a spirit filled service. I mean, for real, it was spirit filled, and I mean, just. You know, and Bishop Lackey was there. I didn't call Bishop Lackey and Aaron B. Lackey. He was there.
Yeah,
Bo
sure.
Barber was there, and you know, and we just really had a great time, Ron. We really had a great time. Yeah. Miss you though. We know you had to be in school though, because you're an educator. But and
he's educating the next Bishop Jackson.
The next one, Susan Buckler. What's Susan Buckler's name? Buckner's name. She's married now. Her and her husband were there. We got a chance to spend a little time with them. But I know you can't talk about that, but I just wanted to just let people know about our friend, Bishop Reginald T. Jackson, who really came into Georgia and really worked with the ministers in Georgia to help make a difference about what was going on in Georgia's politics here in this whole state of Georgia. But I want to just move to another topic as we get ready to move forward. And I was sharing this with Ron earlier. And Ron, you may want to jump in on this in terms of the election, the runoff election. There was some discrepancies in the Fulton County election on the runoff. One of his workers, one of the assistant poll managers, it's been on the news, one of the assistant poll managers, I don't know what she was thinking or what, but she voted for herself and then turned around and voted for four of her relatives, and was caught doing it by other poll workers who turned in. And from the slogan that the county has adopted, you see something, say something. They said something, and it's on investigation now with the state. Secretary of State and also Fulton County Sheriff Department is investigating that behavior and conduct during the election. We want a fair election. We don't want people doing things that they should not do, and that's inappropriate. But we want to thank Fulton County personally, the election department, for catching it and then handling it in an appropriate way. Ron, you may want to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a rare thing that I can quote and agree with Fulton County Commissioner Rob Pitts, though. But I am in agreement when he says that, the system did work, that the worker was, the whistleblower was a fellow poll worker who was able to identify the misdeed, report it to the appropriate authorities. And given the general political nature, we know that voter fraud has been an issue at the top of the ballot, brought up by the current president and many in his line of succession about trying to make sure elections are fair and balanced and represent the will of the people. So it does bear hearing that voter fraud is very rare in U.S. elections. And the few times that it does appear, it is often remedied, one of the few governmental systems that are working at a high capacity. And so the political nature of a voter fraud case in Fulton County, given the centering of Fulton County in a couple of, statewide and nationwide stories as it relates to President Trump, as it relates to voter integrity and the outcome of elections. But this case does seem to be more of a one-off situation in which you have an individual who is looking to advocate for herself and associates that are closely around her. Details of this active investigation are being held close to the vest as more information is being made available. But for now, what is available to us is that we do have an individual acting largely on their own behalf. And it's very difficult to connect these actions to any greater or more nefarious purpose. So it's important that we contextualize, at least in my opinion, that we contextualize this event on the merits of this case and separate it from a lot of the misinformation that's been talked about voter fraud at both the local, state, and national levels.
All right. Shannon, you have anything you want to share with that?
I think that I think it's shocking and disturbing. I had wished that the investigation would, and I know it's ongoing. My hope was that there was some misunderstanding but it appears to be that this was a very egregious act, and I don't know what one would be thinking, and certainly to echo the sentiment of what Ron just expressed. For all of the fight and the marching and the protesting and the pleading that we have done to push back SB 202, to talk about that the voter fraud was not as widespread as it is, to have this happen in Fulton County, where the district attorney is in the crosshairs of the president, where a Secretary of State office was combating a president that was trying to get Fulton County to give him 11,780 votes. to steal an election. It's just shocking that a worker, given all of that, that one would try to do something like that. Deeply disturbing. And I must say that I do have a bit of what we would call theology, a hermeneutic of suspicion, interpreting this data. I think that I'm awaiting the investigation to hear just what really inspired this. And we're talking about a municipal election. We're talking about um, a runoff election. So just really interesting, and I can only imagine how some will take this and run with it and try to place kerosene on it and make it into a barn fire that it really is not.
You know, Shannon, you and Ron, one thing I want to say as we conclude this particular topic is that I think that we have to give kudos to Fulton County Election Office and its staff that they would see something and say something and address it immediately, not you know, weeks or
Right.
months or whatever, but immediately, right then and there, they addressed it. And the young lady was fired on the spot and escorted from the premises. So all of that for the Fulton County Election Office, showing that they have integrity and that they want to have and handle a fair election. So kudos to the Fulton County Election Department, and you know, we'll soon find out her motive and her reasoning for doing what she did. But the reality of it is that the department did address it, as Ron said earlier, in an appropriate manner, and they handled it. And now it's in the hands of the Secretary of State and on an investigation. So let's move on to another topic. Today, Ron, you missed Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine was here in Georgia to speak at the funeral services of Bishop Reginald C. Jackson, and she told a story how she met Bishop Jackson, and as we know, she is now running for U.S. Senator in Texas, and so I think I'm gonna let Shannon jump in on that one, but I think that. You know, the cards are changing around here politically. The climate is changing around here politically. People jumping in and people jumping out, and there's a lot of jumping going on around here. Marjorie Taylor Greene is jumping out, and Jasmine is jumping up. I mean, so let's talk a little bit about that. And I know Ron, he's chomping at the bits. He want to say something so bad about that, Shannon. I can see it. The steam burning off the top of the head.
No, it's coming.
Let's kick it to Ron. Let's kick it to Ron.
Well,
let me just say this. I believe in targeting seats that are winnable. I obviously I don't know a whole lot about Texas politics, other than the fact that Texas politics is a dangerous situation. I did see someone say today that Governor Abbott said that if Jasmine Crockett were to be elected to the U.S. Senate, he would walk away from politics. They went on to say, well, that would be a miracle. That they're saying that Jasmine Crockett would allow a man to get out of a wheelchair and begin to walk. So I'm watching this, John Cornyn. I'm hearing that perhaps there may be some dissatisfaction, but you know, when you're in the United States Senate, you're there for either for a couple of reasons. One, you're there to mind your store, Mitt Romney or Kennedy, or you're there and to mind your legacy, or you're there to mind the store for somebody else. And I just think that with the seniority that Cornyn has, And I'm thinking about those Texas oil men, those billionaires. This perhaps will be an uphill fight if I can look deeper into the data and see. I don't think that Jasmine Crockett would jump in a race that she didn't think she could win, and I certainly think that she would be able to go into the U.S. Senate and perhaps would be a great asset there. And I know that she's as smart, if not smarter, than a great percentage of the senators that are there. But I just need to look at this a little closer and see if she's going to be able to raise what needs to be raised and to build the coalition that she would need, because we don't want to lose her voice from Congress. So that would be a concern. And then on the other side, Freddie Haynes, her pastor, Pastor Freddie Haynes of Friendship West in Dallas, Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas, will be running for the seat that she would be vacating in Congress. So we'll watch this one a little closer. Certainly want to keep her voice elected and at the table.
All right, Ron.
So many ways that we can look at this situation. We spoke about Jasmine Crockett a couple of weeks ago, and I, labeled her a personality on the Democratic side, and I labeled that largely because I'm very curious about the machine that's backing her. It is very appropriate for the most critical voices in the United States government to be coming from junior members within the Democratic Party. Jasmine Crockett is a junior member. Ilhan Omar up in Minnesota is a junior member. We have junior members like Delia Rodriguez, who is introducing articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem, and you have junior members Haley Stevens introducing articles of impeachment against RFK and Department of Health and Human Services. So we see these junior members of the Democratic Party being very open and critical of the direction of this nation, and to their credit, they're effective. But now when you have Governor Abbott, the well-established two-term governor of Texas, making several comments about Jasmine Crockett kind of stepping out of her place, she's about to run up against the real GOP machine. And so it is possible for her to lose this election and become a national figure, a la Stacey Abrams, who lost 2 gubernatorial elections here in Georgia and is now a national political figure within the Democratic Party, just based on the publicity and stage that those races gave her. And I'm a veteran of the 2018 Stacey Abrams campaign. I was an organizer in Clayton County and several other Metro Atlanta counties on that campaign. And when we see a lot of these Democratic campaigns, though they are unsuccessful, it would be great to see them expand the voter base of the Democratic Party to attach these personalities to issues. What's Jasmine Crockett's largest issue? What is she running on? Is she running largely on the dissatisfaction that Americans can be having and Texas can be having with the GOP as the tariffs continue to increase inflation? Now, that is one thing. You can potentially ride a wave of dissatisfaction in office, as Barack Obama did in 2008 when President George Bush was at a zenith of public unpopularity for the way in which he drove the economy into the ground, got us in endless foreign wars, which is what the Trump administration is duplicating. So if Jasmine Crockett wants to ride that initial wave into office, she's only going to sustain power by having a strong agenda. And whereas she has been very vocal on issues as they come up as a one-off, is she the healthcare candidate? Is she the reparations candidate? Is she the education reform candidate? And again, I'm always going to be very curious as to who are the money men and money women who are backing her, who are going to define the parameters of her campaign, Will she expand the boundaries of what it means to be a nationwide black political figure? Or will she kind of continue to tiptoe? Some issues she can be verbal and vocal on, some issues she's going to have to play closer to the vest. So it's going to be interesting to determine what her destiny is in politics. I do think we're kind of going to get an assessment of what she's going to be in the outcome of this election.
Well, you hit several things that I really wanted to touch on. One was healthcare, and the other one was reparation, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely want to talk about one is healthcare now, because with what the Senate has just done, in terms of not extending the tax benefits, that's going to raise the price for health insurance in this country, is really going to be detrimental for a lot of people. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about it. That's what she said. They didn't. Johnson never had a health care bill. Never had one. Never proposed one. Never. But he said he had one. You know, the Republicans, they lie so much. They lie so much. They promise this and promise that. They don't deliver anything, right? Because he said he had one. That's what she said. He never presented one. They never had one, and they didn't have one. Now the American people are now going to have to pay more for health care. Some people won't even be able to have health care because they won't be able to afford it. So let's talk a little bit about that, Ron, since you're segue into that, and then Shani, you can jump in on that, and then we're gonna end up talking about reparation. Okay? All right, Ron.
We gotta understand this Republican defeat of extending the ACA subsidies for 22 million Americans who are receiving them now. This was the back end of the belly up deal that the Democrats made to end the government shutdown. So the Republicans were true to their word. They did hold a vote on extending these ACA subsidies, but the Democrats knew they lacked the votes. The Democrats have always been, they touted healthcare as a major issue, but at some point you got to put your money where your mouth is. And they continue to refuse that, continue to be bullied on this issue by the Republicans, even though over 60% of Americans want to maintain ACA subsidies, even though the benefits of an already broken system. I think that it's so important to state, as I hear Bernie Sanders preach over and over again, that our healthcare system is broken. That we have an employer-based healthcare system that if you lose your job or if you're on public assistance, you have meager opportunities for consistent and uninterrupted health care. We pay the highest premiums of any industrialized nation in the world, sometimes 2 and 3 times the premiums of what's being paid in Canada and Western Europe. And so the pharmaceutical industries, the HMOs, the healthcare industry, they are making billions and now trillions of dollars off nickel and diming us through a broken healthcare system, and a healthcare system that has been broken for over 100 years. Getting single payer healthcare is an issue that goes all the way back prior to the New Deal, in which organizers have been really arguing for this system, but for the fact that universal, publicly supported health care takes the perception that the United States is making an investment in largely minority and low income communities by making healthcare a right, a human right in this country. The perception is that we will hijack prices on white taxpayers to pay for free health care for unemployed black and brown citizens. This is always the fix in the mind of Americans that prevent us from investing in ourselves and over investing in the top 1%. So that issue, this issue of healthcare, is the real mirror in my opinion, for why coalition politics and the Big Ten has been ineffective in really talking about issues that affect American people and coming up with long-term lasting solutions.
You know, Ron, you hit something then, and you talked about that white the Caucasian race feel like the wealthy feel like they're carrying on the tax burden for the poor, right, and the middle class. When that has been an age old argument in terms of that,
Right.
in terms of them. Well, we paid, like North Fulton said, that they pay more taxes than South Fulton and the city of Atlanta, right? And then when the number came out and showed that the people in Atlanta and South Fulton were paying more taxes or as much taxes as the people were in North Fulton. But
That's right.
that's a perception. It's not a reality. And many times when you look at the businesses that are in North Fulton and some of these others who really are not paying their freight of taxes, which putting the burden on the rooftops, that's the real talk. That's the real talk, right? Because when you look at City of Atlanta and what they're getting for taxes in Fulton County and the school boards and other cities that are not getting their share of property taxes from commercial entities, because they keep giving all these tax breaks to commercial entities and they are not paying their fair share of what the taxes will be. So actually, really, if you really think about it, the people with the rooftop pretty much are carrying the burden for the budgets for these governments. And so there needs to be some reassessment by the county in terms of commercial value properties, because with all these buildings, Shannon and I were riding yesterday, all these buildings that we're seeing that's being built around this city that is not being paying their fair share of taxes, we need to reassess who's paying what and stop saying that other folks ain't paying enough, we paying too much. No, you're not. You making the money, but then the people who making little money is left with having to pay more money for you can have even more money. That's real talk. Thank you, Ron, for hitting that. Shannon, you were about to say something.
Oh, first of all, the Senate's vote was shameful. Doubling the subsidies is in some cases allowing it to even triple will be very detrimental to Americans. And I think Senator Warnock dealt with that today at the funeral. Certainly, I caught him on MSNBC on last evening on Jen Psaki's show, and he talked about that vote, and he talked about how the reality of the fact that many will be sick, will have to come off of insurance, and the reality is that some will die. But I just want to posit to you that America does not have a healthcare problem. America has a heart care problem. Anytime you can spend hundreds of $millions for a plane, anytime you can spend millions of dollars blowing up fishermen in the sea and saying that they are trafficking cocaine, anytime that you can send the southern fleet of the U.S. Navy to Venezuela and hijack an oil tanker and take that oil tanker to Texas to house it and to steal the oil from the tanker, and ultimately with a desire to steal all of the oil in Venezuela. No more talk about Greenland. No more talk about that. Now the focus is on Venezuela. We don't have a healthcare problem. We got a heart care problem. And the scripture says that for the love of money is the root of all evil. And so we are watching evil, an evil that would allow the elderly to die, an evil that would disenfranchise the children of a nation, allow them to be sick and to die, to hurt those who have given their life uh, to helping this country, um, and not allowing them to see a physician, not paying for their medicine and aiding them, and not caring about those who are in the margins and who need the help of the most powerful government in the world, perhaps the richest and most wealthiest nation in the world, that would allow those who find themselves in the margins to die, but not just those who find themselves in the margins, but those who are being shipped to the margins tonight and don't know. They're on their way to the margins and don't know it. They're busy watching Fox News and shouting. It reminds me of a joke that Chappelle told on his show when there was a brother, Clarence, who went to the Klan rally, and he was blind, and he had on his Klan outfit, and he was busy talking about the Negroes. We got to stop the Negroes. Yes, white power, white power. We got to stop these Negroes, white power. And he went on, and he was one day he was preaching in a tangent, and the Klan members were shouting him on, and in his exuberation, his hood came off, and they looked at him and saw that he was black, and they started saying, "Here, he's a Negro, he's a Negro." And Clarence, blind, said, "Where's that Negro? Get that Negro, get that Negro." And as we look at this, there are those who are Negrodizing others when ultimately, economically and socially, they are a part of the same class of those whom they have sought to demonize. And they are that way because the people who are in Washington right now could not give a damn about toothless white folks in Willacoochee, Georgia. And so that's the reality of this. Those who think that they're other than those who think that it's not us, but it's them who are going to find themselves sitting in the same waiting rooms, sitting in the same corners offices, sitting in the same places, saying, if only mama could have gotten her into, she would have lived.
You know, I wanted us to move toward talking about reparation. We'll pick that up next week because Fulton County, the committee, there's a committee, I serve on that committee that Marvin Arrington formed with Fulton County to look at reparation in Fulton County. Want to talk more about that. I know we'll have a meeting on the 18th, the committee will, and we'll be talking more about it and trying to get some more revenue in order doing further studies and things that can help in terms of reparation. But we're going to be talking more about reparation and that too. That's a topic. We're not going to let it go. You know, there's a lot of things that's going on, but there are certain things we got to stay on. Can I get an amen? Amen. So I want to just send out condolences to Joe Beasley's family. Joe Beasley, who was an activist and a member of Antioch Baptist Church under late Reverend Cameron Alexander, and now his son Kenneth Alexander, who has been a stalwart leader in the Atlanta community, and far beyond. But we thank God for his life, his legacy, and we send our condolences out to his family. I'm sure Shannon may want to talk a little bit about in terms of CBC and his work in CBC and what will CBC doing to honor the life of Joe Beasley. Shannon, turn it over to you.
When they say that a mighty oak tree has fallen, that is Joe Beasley. He's a part of the sinews of that spark that ignited concerned Black clergy. And he has been here through the storied advancements and liberative displays and demonstrations that we have seen in what became the new Atlanta. He is an architect in his own right of the Black Mecca. that is Atlanta, that was Atlanta, and that we have to begin to look at and deal with. And of course, he was so much to us at Concerned Black Clergy, a kind of conscience. As president, the 11th president, I can't go back and talk to McKinley Young. I cannot go back and talk to Cornelius Henderson. I spend a great deal of time with our president's council, but Joe Beasley, who was not a president, but who was a resident of Concerned Black Clergy, was someone that I could reach out to and talk to, and always gave me the right portion of wisdom that I needed. We will celebrate his life on this coming Monday at Concerned Black Clergy at 838 Cascade Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, 30311 at 11 a.m. And we invite all of you to come and be with us as we talk about this giant who walked among us. We're waiting to receive information for his homegoing services, and I'm sure Bishop will update the Straight Talk community when we receive that.
All right, thank you so very much, and let our prayers go out for the Reverend Dr. Gerald Durley. He's still with us, so he's not gone, but he's been ill. So let us keep him lifted in prayer. Another giant in the Atlanta area and across this nation, one who really has been a leader in his own right and has helped so many. Well, brothers and sisters, we're going to get ready to get out of here. This ain't been nothing but Straight Talk with Judge the Greg Fan and Preacher Man, Shannon E. Jones, Ronald Allen, and Cynthia Waters. We'll be back next week with more. If you want to go around the world with us with Straight Talk with news and information, and you want to give us some information, all you got to do is subscribe to our channel, like, make comments, and or share. And or you want to just be on the program, love to have you. Looking to have Sister Susan on, Pastor Harvey, who had talked to me about dealing with senior citizens, the problem that senior citizens are experiencing now. And since Medicaid is gone, a lot of people are having problems with that, brothers. You know that, Ron. You just talked about the health care, right? A lot of our seniors depend on that. So we'll get her on and she'll be talking about things like that. And thank you so much, Pastor Harvey, for introducing us to her. And that's Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. If you'd like to be on the program, Miss C would love to hear from you. Well, until next week, this ain't been nothing but what, guys? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fan, the Preacher Man.